Okay, so I'm going to start. So we already talked about presentation, and we already talked about the ventilation monitor. Today we'll talk about GIT and nutrition. We have two more organs to monitor before we start to take actual topics. So we will talk also one session about acute care of sick baby, and then acute care of premature baby, and so on. And then we'll continue the sessions. Hopefully this week or next week, we'll meet to do practice. Okay, so any question? Any comment, any question, any request?
If it's okay, I have a question from the first session.
Go ahead, please.
It's about the corrected gestation. I didn't get for what do you mean?
Okay, so when the baby born, we use weeks. And the reason why we use weeks, because if we consider every 4 weeks a month, then in a year we will have 13 months instead of 12 months. So we don't use months, we use weeks, and the weeks are 7 days. And because 1 gram of increasing weight and 1 day of gestational age make a difference, then we use the weeks plus days. So let's say if you have 27 plus 0, it's different from 27 plus 1. Okay? And when we start carrying the baby post-delivery, we need to make the baby reach the term age in a way exactly like when the baby was inside the uterus. And that's why we use the corrected gestational age. So we want the baby to be 37 plus 6 days and more, 36 plus 6 days and more, 37 plus 0 in a term age. And at that age, we will start to count his weight, his height, and his other requirement like at the term baby. And each corrected gestational age will have his or her own complications and requirement. So when the baby is 27 plus 0, after 7 days, he will be 28 plus 0. So we have gestation plus the postnatal life, plus the chronological life, which is 7 days. So days of life are 7. The birth age was 27 plus 0. The current age is 27 plus 6 or plus 7 days, which is 28 weeks. And that's what we call it corrected gestational age. And the corrected gestational age, we write it in this way, 27, let's say, or 28 plus 6, 28 plus 5 out of 52 weeks, which is the whole year. Is that clear or no?
Tamam, it's clear. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any more question? Please ask any question. It would be great if you ask question because I know how to help. The main two things that I will help you when you're working is how to do lines, and how to care the baby. These are the most important, but everything else you will learn. But in these sessions, I'm only giving you the principles, the language that we will communicate. And that's the reason why I'm doing this, because I want to speak in a common language. Okay? Questions? Well, let's start. Okay. So when we also monitor the GI, like what we did in the breathing and in the ventilation, we have some abbreviations, okay? So the first abbreviation, which is very important, is the TFI, which is the total fluid intake. It is the amount of the fluid that goes to the baby in 24 hours. So this total fluid intake is the order that is given in the morning. So I will say the total fluid intake goes to the baby is, let's say, 160 or 165 ml per kg per day. This include the fluid, the IV fluid, include the medication, include any oral intake, include blood, include boluses, include everything, include food, include milk, everything. That's called total fluid intake. Now, is this total fluid intake clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. The total fluid received is what TFR is what actually the baby took in last 24 hours. So sometimes there is discrepancy. Let's say the baby gets sick, so we need to give more. Or let's say the baby has started to have polyuria. We did the morning round, and in the midday, his urine output in the morning was 2 ml per kg per hour, and in the afternoon became 8 ml per kg per hour. He had an RDS resolved, and he started polyuric phase. Okay, so the doctor decide to give more fluid. Or if the baby start to have oliguria and he's not passing urine, and the doctor decide to decrease the fluid, or you gave a boluses, or sometime wrong calculation. So the TFI is usually ml per kg per day, and also you can calculate ml per 24 hours. The TFR can be ml per kg per day, and it also can be ml per 24 hours. The discrepancy is very important. It does not mean there is a mistake. It does mean that we have to adjust the fluid, of course, with other parameter. So I know the TFI, I know the TFR. You will tell me the baby gained weight or lost weight. I will know the urine output, and if there is vomiting, if there is suction, and so on. So I compare the input and output, then I decide whether to go up with the fluid, whether go down with the fluid. Now, is that clear? Any question about TFI and TFR?
Doctor, sorry, but I didn't understand of total fluid received. Please, could you explain more for me?
Explain what? The TFI or the TFR?
Yeah,
Or both?
TFR, please.
TFR is, let's say today is October 10. In the morning, I did round with you, and we decide that we will give to the baby 165 ml per kg per day, which include everything goes to the baby. Fluid, food, medications. Now, tomorrow, then I will do round with you. And you tell me, doctor, the baby received 155 ml per kg in last 24 hours. So now we will look, me and you, why there is 10 ml difference between what I did ordered yesterday or today, and why this baby in last 24 hours, tomorrow, for example, meeting, got 10 ml less, which is what the baby actually received. What happened? Why there is less? Why we didn't reach the full amount for the baby? Is there is an order to change? Is there is a medical crisis that happened in the night that decide to decrease fluid, or wrong calculation? And let's say if the baby ordered 165 and you gave 155 by mistake, but the baby gained weight. So although there is a mistake, but the baby gained weight. So probably I will decide, oh, I will go to 150. I will go down instead of going up. So the TFI is the order giving to you to calculate the amount of milk. So you cannot give more than. So let's say if you are giving milk 5 ml every 2 hours, and you're giving IV fluid, let's say 6 ml every hour, and you calculate extra fluid for medications, let's say you gave 12 ml a day, and so on, you calculate everything. And that's what is total fluid received. Is it clear or no?
Thank you, doctor. Yes.
But did you understand, honestly?
Well, I'm not sure. Sorry.
You're not sure.
Then
Tell me, what did you understand?
Doctor, I know total fluid intake and total fluid received is the same, يعني same
No,
or
they are
يعني
not the same. They are
yes,
totally different.
yes, I know, but I can't يعني express that. Of course, they are different, but fluid intake, it means in 24 hours, every fluid يعني that received foods or
Right.
milk,
So
water,
let's
and
say today is October 10 and yesterday October 9. Let's say that you are giving an order that in next 24 hours you will give 100 ml per kg per day. So that's your TFI. Today you came in the morning and you find that the baby received 96 ml per kg per day. That's what actually the order was, the plan, the hope that he will receive 100 ml per kg per day. That's your TFI. But you came today, you calculated, and you find the baby received 96 ml per kg per day. That's what actually happened. So that TFI was the plan, TFI was the hope, the order is to give TFI. But actually what received next day is the TFR.
tamam doctor, I get it. Thank you.
Yeah. You sure you honestly got it, or you just want to please me?
Yes, I got it. Thank you, doctor.
Okay. So the UAC is the umbilical arterial catheter. The TPN is total parenteral nutrition. It's composed of the following: the fluid, so we calculate how much fluid; the dextrose in the fluid, how much; the protein, how much we'll give protein; the fat, how much we'll give fat; and then the electrolyte, the sodium, the potassium, the magnesium, the calcium. Also, we'll consider the multivitamin, trace element, with or without heparin. Okay, and sometimes we add L-carnitine. All that called TPN, total parenteral nutrition. Of course, TPN has its own benefit, but also complication. We have three types of TPN. TPN starter. So let's say we request the TPN in the morning, and it comes usually to us at 4 p.m. And let's say we have a baby admitted after we did the round, and we send the order, and the pharmacy cannot prepare the TPN. So we have something called TPN starter. It's only protein. So we give the baby dextrose and protein. That's called TPN starter. It's already made in the unit. The other TPN that we sent in the morning, described in a sheet, I will show you the sheet later, called prescribed TPN. And there are other TPN called ready-made TPN. Okay, that's unusually it's of three types: TPN1, TPN2, TPN4, the first 3 days, and then there is another one for the first week, and the other one after 1 week of life. So we'll talk about TPN later on, but that's, you have different type of TPN, and then with time you will know what I mean. When we say D5, we mean dextrose concentration of 5%. When we say D10, we mean dextrose 10%. When we say D11 or D12.5, and so on. D20, D25, mean dextrose 10%. Okay? When we say NS, we mean normal saline, and we have half normal saline. We have something called human milk fortifier, HMF. Now the milk, we have two types. We have the scoop or the chela, and the scoop can be one, and we have the one that's big, which has two scoops. And then we have fluid level. So we have the scoop and we have fluid level. The scoop usually is have 20 kilocalories with one level, which is 30 ml. It's less than 30 ml, but for ease, we make it 30. Okay, but sometimes this 20 kilocal in a standard milk, and you will see that also milk in company write number 1 and number 2 and number 3. This is nonsense. Number 1, number 2, number 3, and for vomiting are all the same. They're all the same milk. These are lies from the companies. All the milk are the same, no difference. However, the difference is how many calories in this milk. And if the calorie change, the protein change, the calcium change. So we have the first type, it's called a 20 kilocal formula, which means one scoop in 30 ml contain 20 kilocalories of energy. Now, when we add HMF, the HMF comes in sachets, like باكيتات صغيرة. تمام? Usually we add every 50 ml of milk, we add one HMF. And once the baby tolerate, no vomiting, no change, we add HMF in a 25 ml. When we add HMF in 50 ml, the calories increase from 20 become 22. When we add two to the one sachet every 25 ml, the calories can increase up to 24. So the HMF, we only add it to human milk. So we add HMF only to human milk. So we're giving human milk, the baby is not gaining weight, we add HMF to increase the calories from 20 kilocal for 1 ounce or for 30 ml of water, from 22 to 20 to 22. So we increase the calorie by HMF. And HMF only added to human milk. Now we have two types of HMF. We have human-based HMF. So we take the HMF from pools of lady and we make it concentrated. Or we take it from the cow's milk. So this is called HMF. Any question about HMF? Question. Do you understand? What's the benefit of HMF? And we only start HMF when we are off TPN and we are full feed. Because remember, when we start feeding on first day, we start very small amount, like 1 ml. And when we say full feed, we look at the TFI. So if the TFI 160 ml per kg per day, and we can give milk 160 ml per kg per day from milk, then that's a full feed. And then we add HMF. And only add HMF when we are full feed on a milk, mother milk, and the baby is not gaining weight, so I add HMF. Okay, any question about HMF? Guys, question about HMF? Please ask me question. This is your opportunity to learn. Yes, Dilzar, ask me. Go ahead. You have a question? Are you listening? Are you hearing me?
Yes,
Am I
yes,
speaking
dear doctor.
to myself? Anybody hearing me? Why you're not answering? Just make it interactive, because I start to be bored, right? When I keep asking and you're not, that means you're not listening to me or you're doing something else. So just Please talk to me. Any question about HMF?
I do not have a question, sir.
Okay,
Also, I don't have any question. Thank you, Doctor.
great. So please keep talking to me. Huh? Okay, now we have also another abbreviation called RTF. RTF means ready to feed, because milk is one of the great source of infection. So if we keep the nurses busy preparing the milk, taking the powder, putting the milk, boiling the milk, that will be a big problem. So what invented is already diluted in disposable bottles. So you don't need to prepare. So you give the baby and then you throw it. It's a ready milk. And there are many types of ready milk. That means RTF, ready to feed milk. Okay? Now we have something called MCT, medium chain triglyceride. So when I am full feed on mother milk and I added HMF and the baby is not gaining weight, so I start add HMF. So I start 0.5 ml and then I increase it. Why medium chain triglyceride? Because we have short chain triglyceride and we have long chain triglyceride. Both, they don't give us good calories. But medium chain triglyceride, 1 gram give us 9 calories. So imagine 20 ml, 30 ml of milk and 1 ounce of milk give you 20 kilocal, while 1 gram of MCT give you 9 kilocal. So 2 grams of MCT equal to 30 ml of milk. So imagine how much like source of energy and calories the MCT can provide to us. Okay? And then we have the OGT, which is orogastric tube. That's a feeding tube passed to the stomach through the mouth. And we have the NGT, which is the nasogastric tube. It's a tube passed through the nose to the stomach. We have umbilical venous catheter. And we have the PIC line, very important, peripherally inserted central line. We have also the, I think this is more like cardiovascular. Yeah, anyhow. We have the femoral central line, we have the jugular central line, and we have the PIV, the peripheral intravenous line. Now we have also TF, which is term formula. So term formula is 20 kilocal per ounce, okay, and let me make it more, per 30 ml of water, okay? So same. Okay, is term formula clear? Please, I want everybody to answer me. What is term formula? So it's 1 scoop, 1 ounce in 30 ml and give us 20 kilocalorie per kg. So I want everybody to tell me whether they did understand what is term formula or not, because everything will be based on the term formula. So please, Dalzar, do you understand what is term formula? Dalzar? Iman?
Yes, dear doctor. Yes, I understand
Iman?
it.
Iman?
Yes.
Yes, Doctor, I understand.
Okay. Is anybody is not understanding what is term formula?
I have just a point. It is about the milk. 1 scoop of milk.
It's 1 scoop of milk, 1 chela. You put it in a 30 ml of water, or it's
And equal to
30 ml of mother milk. It gives us 20 kilocal.
tamam, it's clear.
This is called term formula.
Thank
Of
you.
course, when a baby born to a mother, it will give us a premature milk, which is better than term formula, than mature milk. And usually it takes 21 days after delivery for the premature mother milk to be like term formula. So term formula is 20 kilocal formula. Okay, and usually what milk company, they will hide it because they don't want to tell you. They want to sell money. They want to buy because they won't tell you. They will tell you HMF and oligosaccharide and flavors and whatever, and type 1 and type. You keep confusing you, and they will put many numbers, and they just want to confuse you. Okay, so they can sell as much as they can. But the origin is that you have calculate 20 mil. So if it's 20 mil, usually, so if we divide 20, if you want to practice with me, do you have a calculator? Can you open your mobile and open your calculator, please? Everybody?
Okay.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, so divide 20 divided by 30. How much you get? So
Sorry,
20
divide by
kilocal
what?
divided by 30. 20 as this 20 number divided by 30. Or 2 divided by 3. How much you get? 0.666 something, right?
Yes.
Multiplied by 100. How much you get?
It will be 60.
66. So look
Point.
at the content of the milk in 100 ml. If you find it 66, then it's a term formula. Or sometimes, some company, they will start, they will put number 20. So remember, look at the content. Today when you go, just have 1 can of milk and look at that number. In 100 ml, how many calories are there? So if you find it 66, you know this is term formula. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay, the second type of formula called PDF, post-discharge formula. It's a formula that gives us 22 kilocal per ounce, and again is per 30 ml. 30 ml of water, okay? So everything in 30 ml. Okay, so that's give us a little bit more calorie. It is look like a 20 kilocal formula with HMF, because remember we said HMF, when we add it, it will give us from 20 and make it. So HMF with the 20 kilocal formula give us like PDF, post-discharge formula. And I will tell you the reason why it's called post-discharge. I will tell you later. But if we take 22 and divide it by 30, so please do that.
73.
73. You got it? So you will find on the milk, usually, if you look at the content of the milk, you will find 73 kilocalorie in, it's usually 74, they write it, so it's 22 point something. Because it's not actually 30 ml, it's actually 29 plus 0.6. It's not like exactly the ounce is usually 29.6, but for simplicity, they call it 30. Okay, so you will find the content of the milk will be 74 or 73. Okay? Question about PDF? Any question about PDF?
Doctor, sorry, but for the baby, what's the difference between term formula and post-discharge formula?
I will tell you the difference, but did you understand the principle? I will tell you what's
Yes.
the difference. The principle, okay, so let's take the preterm formula and I will tell you why there is a. The preterm formula, it contains 24 kilocal formula, okay? So, and it's not available in Iraq, unfortunately. So what we do, I will teach you how to prepare a preterm formula from term formula, okay? I will tell you how to prepare a preterm formula from term formula, the 20 kilocalorie. But if you divide 24 divided by 30, multiply by 100, how much you get?
Sorry, please, one time more.
24 divided by 30. It's the same.
80.
80, you get 80, exactly.
0.8.
Okay, so that's why they call it F80 sometimes. And the PDF, they call it F74. And the term formula, they call it sometimes they call it F66. Okay, so back to the question. I can't remember who asked me the question. So usually when the baby born, we give them preterm formula. Okay, when they go home, they cannot go on a term formula. And we cannot give them preterm formula. The reason why we don't, because it's a very high load on the kidney. And we need to check the electrolyte weekly or bi-weekly when we give preterm formula. And that's why we don't switch to the term formula, because they will not gain weight. We will switch to a formula that is 22 kilocal. And because we are using it after the baby goes home, we call it post-discharge formula. So term formula, we give it to the term baby. Preterm formula, we give it to the preterm babies. And post-discharge formula, we give it to the NICU graduate premature babies. Is that clear why we call it post-discharge formula?
Yes, clear, doctor.
Okay. Now we also have hypercaloric formula. So we don't use it, but we use it like once or twice or maybe thrice a day. So we have the hypercaloric, and to know it, you just need to divide 26 by 30, and you will know how much it's F. So 26 divided by 30, you get F86, or 86 kilocal in 100 ml. And then we have the 28. So if we need the baby to gain more, such as baby with heart failure, limited fluid, we need to give more calories. So we use hypercaloric 28. So 28 divided by 30, we get 93. So it's F93. And then we have the 30. Okay. For newborn babies less than 3 months, they should not be giving more than 30. So if you divide 30 by 30, you get 100. So it's F100. So when you are newborn, you cannot digest the calories. You cannot digest the calories. You cannot digest the calories without having 1 kilocal. You have 1 ml of water or fluid. So you need to use 1 calorie. You need at least 1 ml of water. So we cannot give more than 30 kilocal per ounce. We cannot give more than F100. Is that clear? Any question
Yes.
here? Okay, now we have something called EBM, express breast milk. Okay, so that we give the mother machine, it's either mechanical or electrical, that suck the machine from the mother. It simulate the baby sucking, and my mom collect the milk and bring it to us to give it to the baby. We call it EBM. And then we have the DBM, donor breast milk, and we have two types of donor breast milk. So if we are Muslim, then probably they won't accept to take donor breast milk, because they have the brotherhood in feeding. So we have two types of donor breast milk. The donor breast milk that is taken from pooled of lady and processed. Okay, in North America we call it Prolacta, the company. In Europe they call it Humavan. And sometimes we have designated lady donor breast milk. So if you're a Muslim and you don't accept, we can ask you, okay, go to a lady that is now feeding a baby and asking her to donate to you a milk. So donor breast milk are two types. The pooled lady, a group of lady giving the milk to the company process the milk, and it's in Canada, in North America, manufactured in California, called Prolacta. And I've been
عفوا
using
عفوا
Prolacta.
دكتور، يعني قصدك بالعربي الرضاعة، يعني المرضعة لو شنو؟
الرضاعة، الأخوة بالرضاعة، صح؟
بس يعني بالإسلام يعني يمكن يعني اعتيادي، ولو أنا مو يعني هو أعرف بس.
بس إذا اعتيادي لا مو اعتيادي، أكو بها فتوى، عندي فتوى بها، فتوى من إيران، وفتوى من لبنان، وفتوى من السعودية، وفتوى من الإمارات. عندي فتاوي يعني. لأنه إذا تأخذ من أكثر من واحد بعد ما تعرف منه أخوك بالرضاعة حسب الإسلام. تمام. وبالإسلام طبعا الفتاوى موجودة، أكو شيء يسموه كليات، الكليات الإسلامية سامع بها 5 هم. واحدة من الكليات حفظ الحياة يقدم على الأشياء الأخرى. تمام. ف وبعدين الرضاعة لازم تكون مشبعة. تمام. لازم تكون مشبعة، ولازم تكون directly from the breast milk، ولازم تكون لغرض التغذية. فاهم علي؟ فعندي فتوى
أنا قصدي عشان
يسمحون
بس ما نحول واحد بس، خلاص فهمت على حضرتك. البوينت مو اكثر من واحد يكون عرفت ايدك.
نعم. الديزيجنيتد وان يعني شخص وحده تنطينا الحليب. الشركات البرولاكتا والهيومافان ياخذون الحليب من مئات الامهات، يخبطوه سوا ويعملوا له بروسيسنج. اوكي. حتى
لا لا
هذا عندنا
يختلف
به
تماما
فتوى.
صحيح.
عندنا به فتوى ممكن نستخدمه اذا كان الغرض منه ليس التغذيه، واذا كان غير مشبع. فاهم علي؟ اذا كان غير مشبع والغرض منه ليست التغذيه، يعني تعرف انت اذا انطينا formula to a premature baby 24 25, they usually die because of necrotizing enterocolitis. So and if we don't give them milk, they got fasting enteropathy. So we have to give them something until the mother starts to express, because the mother takes about 7 days to give us the milk. So during that period, we have a permission, we have fatwa to use it as far as it's not mushbi'a and it's not, the purpose is not in nutrition, because the first few days, the feeding is to prime the GI, to stimulate the GI, not to. Okay, anyhow, the donor breast milk are of 2 types, from one lady and manufactured from a group of lady. Now, is that clear?
It's clear, sir.
Confusing?
No, it's clear.
Okay. Now remember, when we do the flow, it should be within 24 hours. Or 12 hours or 8 hours, depending on the shift. And this is our, again, it's exactly like what they have a sheet for the cardiovascular, we have sheet for the GI. So we said how much TFI, ml per kg per day, the order today, and the TFR, what actually yesterday the baby received. Any extra fluid from medication, so we give ampicillin, for example, and we are giving like 3 or 4 ml. Okay, and then we have to calculate how much calories the baby getting from TPN, which is kilocal per kg per day. And what are the type of fluid we are using? Is it D5? Is it D10? Is normal saline, half saline, and so on? And how much we are running fluid in the UAC or the arterial line, such as 0.8 ml per hour. And what type of line? Do you have like a peripheral line? Do you have like a central line? Is it umbilical? Is it PIC line? Is it femoral? Is it jugular? And how much protein we are giving? So let's say we are giving 3 grams per kg per day. And how much fat we are giving? And then usually the fat we calculated gram per kg per day, and also amount. So usually the fat are 5 ml in each gram. And how much sugar TPN? So I will teach you when we get hypoglycemia and hyperglycemia, I will teach you how to calculate the sugar intake. Okay, so the sugar infusion rate should be milligram per kg per minute. Okay, so you need always to document all that. How much multivitamin we are giving, and usually it's 1 ml for each 100 ml of TPN. And if there is milk, what is the type of milk? So is it like term formula? Is it pre-term formula? Is it like hypercaloric? Is it like EPM? Is it DPM? Are we giving iron? And are we giving HMF? Are we adding powder of milk to the RTF? Are we adding MCT oil, and how much? And how much oral protein, if we're adding protein? Are we giving an oral sodium chloride, and how much? What is the duration of feed? So are we giving the feed over 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 45 minutes, 2 hours, 3 hours, or continuous? If there is vomitus, how much the volume and how many times? And if the stools, how many stools, and did we measure how many grams of stool the baby? Is there is a blood in the vomiting? And if there is blood in the stool, we have to mention. Is there is abdominal distension, and what is the girth? And usually we measure the girth of the abdomen, the circumference of the abdomen at the umbilicus. Are we having NG or AGT, and is it checked by the X-ray or not? Are we checking residuals? And usually when we put feeding tube, we check how much. We check like how much most of the nurses does. Despite we tell them don't do that, they do the residual. So they pull and sometimes they throw it. So we have to record how much residuals because that's an output. And what are the color of the residual? Is it the blood, mucousy, and so on? Any comments? And then the initial. And then we need to document that day. What is our working weight? Is the weight that you will use it for calculation. Do you guys remember the working weight from the first day? How we calculate the first weight? The working weight?
It is near 200. It was near 200. For example, if the weighting load, for example, 1,150, we nearest the nearest number is 1,120.
So 1.2. So 1.2. You mean 1.2 is the working weight?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So we use the birth weight until the current weight past the birth weight. Okay, so use either the birth weight or current weight if the current weight passed the birth weight, or sometimes we don't use the working weight, the current weight as a working weight. If there is edema or dehydration, we use another weight. So it will be current weight or today weight. Okay, and we need to mention what is the birth weight and what is our target weight. Okay, now it's very important that we achieve, because when the baby born, they usually lose their weight, and usually they lose somewhere between 5 to 10% in a term baby, and sometimes up to 15% of their body weight if they are a premature baby. So it's very important that we gain the birth weight quickly. If we gain the birth weight quickly, we're doing very good. So if you look at here, that a preterm baby lose about 15% of their weight, while the goal for preterm baby to lose less than 10%. So we have to make every effort not to allow the baby lose more than 10%. And the term baby, we have to lose less than 5% as much as possible. And another target is we have to reach back to the birth weight by day 7. So if we go by day 7, that will be great. So you can see here what's the actuality, and here what is for term baby when we gain the birth weight, and this one is the target. So if we reach the birth weight by day 7, we are doing great. If we reach the birth weight by day 14, you are doing reasonably good. But if you don't reach the birth weight by 21, then probably you're doing something wrong. So remember, when you work with me, I will be obsessed with gaining weight every day and why we didn't gain weight, and we will calculate. And that's the reason why we have TFI and TFR. Do you have any question here? Okay. Now this is, go ahead. Go ahead.
Not in this slide, in the other slide, it was
This
written,
one?
no, the other one, maybe.
This one?
No, two.
This one?
It was written IV sugar infusion. Do you mean dextrose? This one?
Yeah, the sugar is the dextrose. Yeah.
Dextrose, tamam.
Yeah. The sugar is glucose infusion rate or sugar infusion rate. Same. It's just like English words versus medical word.
Tamam.
Okay, and this is how we achieve the birth weight. Here's the birth. And this is before, this is the first trimester, third trimester, and this is until weight of life and the target, how we gain weight and what's the gram, like how we calculate the weight. Because remember, when the baby born before prematurity, so if this is a term baby, when baby born at 28 weeks, we don't know the gaining weight after the delivery. So we use the fetal weight to get an idea how much the baby gained weight. So if the baby born here, we'll still continue using the graph of intrauterine baby. Because if the baby is still there, if he's born at 28, if he's not born and reach 29, then he will gain 0.75 centimeter per week. And he will also gain length of 1.1 centimeter per week. And he will gain about 208 gram per week if he's inside his mother. So we tried our best to simulate what happened inside the mother, because we don't have any real data about how these babies grow when they are when they deliver prematurely. We don't actually have idea, and we use the data from the fetal life. This is the growth of preterm babies. So you can see before birth, we don't have any idea. And post-birth is also these, the actual gaining weight. Now, remember when we give calories to the baby. So if we give only 50 kilocal per kg per day. Now, we try our best to give the calories, but sometimes not possible because of limitation of the fluid. Because remember, we cannot give more than 1 kilocal per 1 ml. So the target calories that we give is about 50 kilocalories for baby who's just resting, the basal metabolic rate. We don't need them. You need 50 kilocalories. Otherwise, you won't able to survive. To have an activity, you need about 15%, 15 kilocalories, which is around 30% above resting calories need. If you're exposed to temperature, to cold, then you probably need 10 more calories. And that's why when we will have a session about how we keep the baby in thermoregulation. Okay? When we start feeding the baby and the baby starts sucking, they will lose calories too. So we need to remember that they need about 8 kilocal per kg because they need because they start suck. Passing stool, it's around 12 kilocalories lost. Growth, the baby to grow, need 25 kilocalories. So remember, when the baby is sick, they need more calories. So they took about 10 to 15. So if the baby have an RDS, they need 10 to 15 kilocalories per day, per kg per day, to fight the RDS. Okay, so if the baby is okay, stable, and you give 120 kilocal per kg per day, you probably get some growth. But if the baby is sick, they have PDA, they have sepsis, they are RDS, ventilated, they need more calories to the growth. But the minimum requirement for the baby to grow, they need 120. And just to stay alive, they need around 90 kilocal. Okay, and I think I'm done with this session. Do you guys like this session? Are you learning a few things new, or like, I don't know, I mean, but I'm trying to make it very simple as much as I can, and the principle only until you reach to the level I can give you the real sessions. But these are just introducing you to the intensive care. Any questions? And if any have any comment, or whether you know these data, or these data, like these information are difficult, or it's new to you, or whatever.
Thank you very much, but it was a little difficult to digest. For me, it was like that.
This session was difficult?
A little bit, yes.
Okay,
Confusing.
so yeah, a little bit. It's okay, but this is just an introduction, and you'll remember that we will take the GI in detail. But this is just
Inshallah.
introducing you to the GI, the new terms. I know it's all abbreviation, it's a new terms and it's new things. Okay, but once you get it as a sheet and you start to apply it, Okay, but when you start apply it hand-on, I don't want to tell you the abbreviation, at least you are memorizing that. Because when you start to fill the chart, you cannot write like breast or hive. You have to use abbreviation, DBM, EBM, and then you need to know the meaning of these when you start filling it. But when we take, for example, feeding complication or sucking problem or type of bottles and type of milk and feeding in special NICU situations, when you start to take these data, you have already the baseline. You know the abbreviation, you know the terms. So I don't want to explain all the terms, and then I'll start give you the information. But the good news here, I already gave you the PDF of the lecture, so you can review it or you can read it before you come. And also I'm recording it. So that is, I think, is a good news here, because